Hallo und willkommen, ich bin Meister Lenze and you're watching Get Germanized. Are all Germans secretly racist?
I am bored. What should I do?
Ich weiß.
Get Germanized.
The stereotype that all Germans are foreigner-hating, Nazi-loving racists existed long before I was born in October 1986. But is this stereotype really still justified these days? I've lived in Germany for most of my life, so I feel like I can give an honest and experienced opinion on what it's like to live in Deutschland. The reason the question came to mind is not only because of what I've read in the comment section of my YouTube videos, but also due to the things that I have heard from people that I personally know. Private messenger app groups in which racist memes or jokes or news stories have been shared by people who would usually never ever say such things in real life or in public. Most of these people would probably only say things like that when they're sure that they're safe from criticism, and that's mostly with family and very close friends. Even though you would think that close friends would criticize you for it. If they're good friends, that is. Don't get me wrong, no one is perfect, and I myself have probably laughed at one or two racist jokes in my life before as well. The difference here is if you laugh at these things or if you tell these jokes because of the shock value that you really just want to shock your friends, oh, it's so forbidden, haha, I said it anyway, right? Or if you really stand behind the racism that is depicted in them. What I've experienced myself and what I heard from other people is quite shocking though. Intense, well, contempt, I might even say, against Muslims in general and foreigners or just different cultures. More harmless comments like, oh, if I go to the supermarket, I don't even feel like I'm in Germany anymore, are still not shared publicly. Germans are conditioned that speaking about these things is bad. We're conditioned to keep it to ourselves, to let it build up inside, and in my opinion that's quite dangerous. We all know what Germany's history looks like, and I'm sure most people wouldn't want it to repeat itself. The recent rise of the nationalistic right-wing party, the AfD, the Alternative for Germany, into the Bundestag, the German federal parliament, is proof that many Germans are frustrated with the state the country is currently in. Similar how the people in the USA voted for President Trump and how the British voted for Brexit, many Germans most likely just voted for the AfD to create a different dynamic and a change, rather than wanting to go back to the World War II days. I highly doubt that. Still, racism in Germany exists and continues to be a problem, if only an underlying and hidden one. The reasons for this are manifold. Many Germans are just scared of what they see and hear in the media, for example. Many people that I've spoken to about these things and that express hostility towards refugees and Muslims and foreigners maybe in general have never in their entire life spoken to one personally. In many cases, the only basis for their feelings and opinions was hearsay and not really research or experience. I mean, of course they will be scared of Muslims if they only hear Muslims try to force Sharia law on all of Germany. Muslims try to ban Christmas. You can't even go to Christmas markets anymore because there's a wall now, which is bullshit. There's like a little stone thingy so that trucks can't drive into it anymore. Or ISIS infiltrates Germany through refugees. Some of these things will definitely have truth in them. I mean, of course, there's a possibility that with all the refugees there are terrorists coming. Like I said, some of these things have truth in them, many of them don't. Certain news pages love these stories though. They push them. They make them worse than they are, and I mean, you can't even differentiate the truth from, well, a lie anymore these days. And that's like they don't care. They want that because that is how they sell their stuff. They sell their ads with that. And many people out there play right into their hands. They don't fact check. They read only headlines. They don't even bother to read the article anymore. If there's like, Christmas banned in Germany, they don't even care to check if that is really true. Like, are there any like grounds to this theory? Like, is there, or to this headline, like, is there any proof? I would look that up before I share anything with you guys, especially. And many people don't seem to do that anymore. They just share it and then it gets spread. And the news companies, the online ones, the smaller ones, maybe even just news pages, like a single person sharing these things often, he's just super happy about all the ad revenue he gets. Again, I'm not saying all these things that are being shared are complete lies. I'm just saying a lot of the stuff that's being shared is bullshit. You need to differentiate there. I'm not attacking you personally if you believe many of these things are true. I think we can still have a discussion about this though, right? So for me, it's no surprise at all that many of the Germans out there have hostility or contempt towards foreigners if the only thing that they hear are these things, the bad things. If they've never even cared to speak to a Muslim, to a foreigner maybe even. So this is very sad. Sad but surely not surprising. I mean, Germans don't seem to have it easy these days anyway. We're either Nazis that want to take over the world, destroy cultures, and just ruin everything in general, or we're snowflakes, we're cucks that love the foreigners so much that we don't care if our country gets destroyed, that we don't care if our culture gets overtaken. So these are the two sides that you have to face as a German on the internet especially. I doubt that people would say this to me or to any other German in public. Many people don't have the guts for it. They just say it on the internet because that's where they think they can get away with it. But that's the reality. I mean, I can speak from experience here and from other videos from Germans, by Germans as well. When I look at the comments, I get these comments, they get these comments. It is common. I get hate on a daily basis for different reasons, from people who call me Nazi, from people who call me a cuck. There's a full spectrum every single day. So you need to realize, like, people are just fed up here in Germany with being treated that way. I know German history doesn't look perfect, but people are just fed up. They had enough, I think, at least. We can't seem to win, no matter what. No pun intended. Like I said, I actually get these sort of comments every day. And I'm used to it, right? It doesn't bother me that much anymore. Of course, it's still shit, but it doesn't bother me. Like, it doesn't hurt me, doesn't offend me. I just delete them or block the person right away and I'm done with it, right? I'm not gonna spend another second thinking about it. But just imagine if someone who's not used to that even just reads it under another video, not even something they put out personally, but if they read something like that, like this hate against Germans over and over and over for different kinds of reasons these days, then at some point they will be fed up and maybe even become hostile towards foreigners just for that reason. And to be honest, maybe that's what these trolls want. But keep in mind, dear trolls, that we're not gonna only hate Muslims then, right? Because most of these comments actually come from English speakers. So what can be done? Like, how do you battle this secret racism that is obviously still here in Germany? I think the first step is to fight the ignorance. Ignorance is our biggest enemy here on the internet. Like, just don't... I say it again, don't just share stuff without fact-checking it. And please, please try to stay objective here. Like, don't just hate because you feel like, oh, but I think one of these things is right. So anyone who tries to convince me of a different opinion, I will shit on. Like, don't just do that. That's not how you have a conversation, a discussion. Don't just blurt out your hatred bullshit. Let's have a discussion about this. We might have different opinions, but we're still civilized people, right? You're an adult, I'm an adult. I mean, hopefully you're an adult. If not, well, you can still have a valid opinion that can be, you know, that can be transferred to my mind without hate and bullshit. Because if you want to change someone's opinion, it sure as hell won't work with insults. By saying that you should fact check the news stories and stuff that you share, right, or that you read, I'm not saying there are no problems with foreigners here in Germany. Of course there are. For example, I live near Bremen, and most of the drug dealers that you see around the train station and around the Viertel, that's like a district, a party district in Bremen, are black foreigners. And how do I know that they're drug dealers? Well, because they offer me cocaine and weed regularly whenever I go there. Like, you can see them, like, if you look at them too long, they will approach you and stuff like that. So of course there's criminals among the foreigners. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of native drug dealers and criminals as well, but understandably, if you come to another country expecting to have this wonderland filled with jobs and housing and all of that kind of stuff and a better life, and you just find yourself to be hated on and ignored, and you have to live in a tent maybe even, and just think, where am I? What happened to my life? Then it's understandable that people will resort to committing crimes if they don't have money, if they, you know, are just super frustrated. I mean, that happens in any society, really. It's the government's job to integrate those people, to get them into schools, to teach them the language, to get them jobs, and if they can't, send them back. If they commit crimes, send them back. Like, we don't want criminals here. Like, if we could choose, we would send out all the German criminals as well. Like, what in your mind, like, I don't get it sometimes, the comments that I get, what makes you think that we want criminals here? Like, most Germans don't. But you act as if every decision that the government makes, like, we are responsible for. We just elect people and they do what they want basically most of the time. That's the same in America with Trump. He can do whatever the hell he wants unless the Congress says something against it, right? But basically, like, you don't really have that much of an influence anymore after the person was elected. So it's the government's job, not the German people's job to you know, get rid of the criminals here in this country. Foreigners who come to Germany need to be educated about our laws and our way of life. That's just how it is. Of course, if they don't know about it, they probably act wrong because they just don't know it. Like when I went to Japan, I felt like a complete idiot in most situations because I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't speak the language. The signs were mostly in Japanese. I mean, actually these days there's more and more English signs, but still, like, I felt like a complete dumbass. And I can just imagine coming to a country, living here, what it must be like if you don't have a job, if you can't even learn the language in a school or anything like that. So that's what we need to be doing. Like, education is key here. Stopping the ignorance is key on both sides, I think, to stop the secret racism in Germany. And if we can't achieve that, I don't see this ending well. But I have faith. I really do have faith. We can do it. Like, if we all work together, everyone pulls on one string, one rope, how do you say that in English? I don't know, then we can do it, I'm sure of it. What is the European Union for, hey? We can manage this if we all work together. Maybe some people will say, oh, that's just, you know, dreams. It will never happen. But maybe you have a better idea then. Like, let me know in the comments below. Be polite. Be polite. For my sake, alright? That would be great. That would just be fantastic. But yeah, what do you think about all of this? Let me know in the comments below. Leave a like if you found this video interesting, helpful, or if you just enjoyed watching it at all. And subscribe if you haven't yet. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.